he's making the game look easy,
Mm-hmm.
right? He's simplifying the game of baseball, and it's not easy. Like, we know that. And he's making it look simple. He commands so much of the plate up there. It really, I mean, I didn't see all of the guy's career, but I saw the tail end of it, and I've watched a lot of highlights, obviously. It's very reminiscent of Barry Bonds.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. With me, as usual, my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian.
What a weekend. Wow.
Yeah, we're going to get into it. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, hit the bell so you know when those videos go live. On today's show, we preview the series between the Yankees and the Nats. That starts tonight. It's Minors Monday. We have some things to update you on that don't involve actual minor league players, because there's a bunch of rehabbing players. But first, what more can we say about Aaron Judge at this point?
Yeah, I mean, hitting the 50 home run mark prior to September is wild. I mean, it's at this point, it feels like inevitable that he's going to break the 62 that he had. He's on pace now, I think, for 64. There's no words at this point. And the fact that, I mean, if you get Stanton going, I mean, Paul O'Neill made this point multiple times over the broadcast on the weekend, and he really is right. If you have Stanton going the way that he's been going this series, the last couple of weeks, Stacey, they're as tough of a lineup as there is. If you have him going, because the bottom of the lineup leaves a lot to be desired. I understand that. But if you have him going and then you add Dominguez, and even if Dominguez isn't necessarily all there and he's not all, ready and stuff like that, he still is a power threat, and he's better than what Alex Verdugo is supplying. They're going to be a really, really tough lineup to navigate, because even if Dominguez isn't hitting well, he's still a guy you can't leave a mistake over the plate with, because he has the power to pull it out. So, I mean, the whole weekend had a lot of positives in it other than Saturday, but overall, I mean, Judge is hitting, Soto's at bats too. It doesn't really need to be said anymore, but Soto's at bats also outrageous. I can't. It is the Rockies. We have to preface that, right? It is the Rockies, another team that's not quite as bad as the White Sox, but also not quite one of the best teams in baseball. Really, a lack of words at this point for what Aaron Judge is doing this year.
So here are some numbers. He hit his 50th home run in game 156 in 2017. That was September 25th. In 2022, he hit his 50th home run in game 129 on August 29th. And this year, game 131 on August 25th. So he is at a 63 home run pace at the moment.
Ridiculous.
Which is insane. And like I keep saying, he's beating himself. There's no pressure this time. It's not the whole, he's going to beat Roger Maris and the whole 61 and it's been 61 years and this and that. This is just him against himself. There's no pressure on him. And even if he slows down a little bit, but then goes on another tear toward the end of the season, because he's known to do that, you could see 63, 64, maybe even 65 if he keeps doing this double, this 2 home run thing.
This point's been made a million times too, and it really is crazy to think about. He's making the game look easy, right? He's simplifying the game of baseball, and it's not easy. Like, we know that. And he's making it look simple. He commands so much of the plate up there. It really, I mean, I didn't see all of the guy's career, but I saw the tail end of it, and I've watched a lot of highlights, obviously. It's very reminiscent of Barry Bonds, where in the batter's box, he controls the entire plate. Like, the pitchers are afraid. You can't throw it anywhere. There's nowhere to put the ball. I don't know if you guys watched much of the Old Timers broadcast, but they asked Mariano Rivera, how would you pitch to Aaron Judge? And it is kind of like a twofold answer, because I think Mariano gave the answer that he kind of has the answer for every hitter because his pitches were so good. Having said that, Mariano's response to this was, I would just throw it over the plate and say, here you go. Now, Mariano did that with pretty much every hitter he ever faced because his cutter was so good that people couldn't read the late movement. However, the answer also came across as an, I don't know, I give up.
Right.
And that's what I think a lot of pitchers feel like. It really is mind-boggling why teams still throw to
Pitch
him.
to. Yeah.
And I love it that they do. And I love seeing Aaron Judge get at-bats. And I love seeing him hit home runs. But it really does leave you sitting there thinking, why are they throwing to him?
Well, the bottom line is these guys are all competitors, and you don't want to.
Sure.
I don't think any of these pitchers really want to. Well, they don't want to give up home runs to Aaron Judge, but they do want to try and challenge him because they don't want to intentionally walk him. You know what I mean? Like, I guess
better said, why do the managers let their pitchers
Right.
throw to him? Like,
Right.
I get pitchers wanting to challenge him. That I understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand why, if you're a manager and he comes up with anybody on base, why you wouldn't just walk him.
Yeah, like if first base is open, just do this.
I wouldn't even test it. Like, it's wild.
So Sunday, so he hits the first home run, which is amazing because you're like, oh my God, it's 50. Like, wow, holy cow. And then Soto, Judge, Stanton go back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
And even the ball that Stanton hit, where his bat broke and it hit the ump, good thoughts to the ump because that was really scary. He could have been seriously injured with that bat. If that bat hadn't been broken and if he had hit it just a little bit on a different part of the bat, he probably could have hit that one out too with the way Stanton's been hitting home runs lately.
He's been swinging the bat tremendously, and he's a catalyst, right? Like if he's gonna be a hitter going in, and we've seen stretches where Stanton stays hot for a month and a half. If he stays hot going into the postseason, I mean, they're terrifying. That 2, 3, 4. I mean,
any good in the
when's the last time we've seen a 2, 3, 4 like that in the Yankees?
Yeah,
it's been 2009, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, I mean, that's really what you're talking about. It's that crazy with like Teixeira and A-Rod and Cano a lot of nights. Like, you haven't seen something like this in a really long time. So I think this point's been made a lot, and I think we need to reiterate it on the show because I think it is true that people are starting to veer away from this, and we need to reel people back in. Start to really appreciate what you're seeing because this is, I mean, what you're seeing out of Aaron Judge, the Yankees, who knows? There's a lot we have to break down when it comes to their season, if they're going to win a World Series, and there's a lot that goes into that, right? It's not an individual sport. It's far from it. It's a very, very, very team-based sport. We know that. However, as Yankee fans, we got to start appreciating and not really taking for granted what we're seeing on a daily basis. Because I mean, this is historic stuff that, Stacey, I mean, this a player like this comes around once every 50 years. I mean, that's how historic this is. I mean, you're talking, they're at the point now where you're not even talking Ruth and Gehrig and all. He's surpassing those names of the paces that he's playing at. I mean, every time that number comes back up of the 99 game pace that he's on, or the 100 game pace that he's on, it's better than any 100 game pace that any player has ever played in.
Yeah, it's
outrageous how good he's playing. I can't wait to see how his season ends because I mean, if this is what he is fully healthy, I've personally never seen anything like this. I don't think you have. I mean, this is incredible, and it's amazing how in other sports when you see players that kind of transcend the sport a little bit and break these records and play at this insane level, right? When we have a lot of them in sports right now, right? Connor McDavid in hockey, what has he won? He's breaking all these records. He's playing at an unbelievable pace that we haven't seen since Gretzky. He went to the Stanley Cup final last year. He hasn't won one, right? Pat Mahomes has won. And Pat Mahomes is breaking all these records and playing great. He's won. And he's that transcendent talent that they have. LeBron James won. Basketball has that. Steph Curry has won. These great players, these all-time greats, these transcendent athletes, they all also win. And I don't think you get into that next echelon, that next category, that next level of all-time great pro athlete without winning. I just don't. I think that, and I know it's a team sport, and I know it's a team-paced thing. I totally agree with you. But all the other greats that you talk about in the history of baseball, there's very, very few of them that didn't win a championship. So it's, especially as a Yankee, there's literally one in the history of the Yankee franchise of an all-time great that's never won. And I don't think people really put Mattingly in that category necessarily, right?
But I don't think it's fair to judge because that's the front office's fault. That's ownership's fault for not giving him teams that are good enough to get him to that point.
While I agree with you, how many of those guys? I mean, how many of those guys is that excuse used for? I mean, Ted Williams didn't win, right? Does anyone say that? Oh, it was front office's fault? No, he didn't win. But I'm sure that
But that's dumb.
I'm not well versed in the 1950s Yankees rosters, right? But Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle, I don't think that was ever an excuse. You know what I mean? And they won championships, but I don't think in the years they didn't win championships, it was a roster thing.
No, but baseball's different now. That's what I mean. Like it's all like the front office builds the team. They do all that stuff. Like back then, like guys showed up to spring training. Oh, you want to play? Okay. Like it was completely different. This is a different era. And the fact that he's doing it in this era when pitching is so good and guys are throwing 100 miles an hour, you know,
that's what makes it so insane. Because Roger Maris and Babe Ruth, the guys that he's passing in these home run records, all were facing a lot of guys that, you know, post the fifth inning at 120 pitches and we're throwing 70 miles an hour now. You know, taking a lot of advantage off that. There was no bullpen back then, and especially there were relievers, but there weren't relievers in Babe Ruth's era, and there really weren't a lot of them in Maris's era at all. But even those guys weren't coming in throwing 102 miles an hour with movement across the plate. So those guys never saw guys with the level of talent that Judge is seeing on a regular basis. But I do think it's an argument to be held, right? I mean, we'll have much more of these discussions in the offseason, but the all-time greats all win. And there's not really many excuses that are used. And I don't think Judge would want to use one of those excuses either.
Yeah, I still think it's silly. Anyway, don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification bell so you know when our videos go up. Also, reply to the pinned comment on our videos Monday through Thursday if you want your questions answered for Fan Mail Friday. Or you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in the description. You'll get text from us. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to the game. There's a 14-day free trial. All right, coming up, it's Miners Monday.
PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And unlike other apps, on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Preseason football is underway, but you can also pick more or less on 2024 season stats on PrizePicks. Will Pat Mahomes throw for more or less than 4,300 yards? Will C.J. Stroud's sophomore season result in more or less than 4,150 yards? Enter your season picks before Week 1 kicks off. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match of up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks for a deposit match of up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Welcome back, and thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. And how about for your second listen, you enjoy the Locked On MLB podcast? Host Paul Sullivan, a.k.a. Sully, is here for you daily to provide national expertise with his trademark humor, along with helping you get ready for the MLB playoffs. Prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day on Locked On MLB. It's available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And don't forget that you can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. Welcome back, guys. Miners Monday, that's the day that it lands on. And I want to also say happy birthday to someone who's no longer a miner, hasn't been a miner for a while. Stacey, a big one, right? And a monumental one. How does it feel? You've seen many more Yankee championships than I have, so I'm a little jealous on that end. Do you feel older?
Yes.
Really?
No.
Much older?
No. It's really, oh, wow. I much preferred going from my 30s to my 40s. Going from my 40s into my 50s just feels, you know, when you were a kid, 50 felt like it was ancient. And
sure.
Now I'm here and it's just really wild, you know.
But you don't feel ancient.
No. One of my cousins actually called me to wish me an early birthday. And he said, look, because he's 63. And he said, at the time, 50 felt like the end of the road. He's like, but now that I'm where I am, I wish I was back at 50. He's like, so enjoy it as much as you possibly can.
Cherish the moments, create new memories, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully many more Yankee championships for you on your the rest of your journey, I guess is what we're gonna say, right? I mean,
yeah.
There's a long journey ahead for you. But Stacey, Minors Monday. I think a lot of people are interested in this Minors Monday in particular, just because a lot of players that we're checking in on, and a lot of guys they're gonna have an impact on the major league roster coming up soon.
Yes. Let's start with Jason Dominguez, because everyone wants to hear about Jason Dominguez. So in his last 8 games, he's had 5 multi-hit efforts. He's 13 for 35, which works out to a 371 average. He has a stolen base in 4 straight games and 6 in his last 8.
Huge. And he's going to be a part of the September call-ups immediately. I expect, we went over it on the Fan Mail Friday episode last week. I expect Jason Dominguez to play over Alex Verdugo. I wouldn't be surprised if they cut Alex Verdugo. I really wouldn't. He's gonna be a huge part of this Yankee playoff run. No doubt about it. And he got that one game, and I think it soured people a little bit. He's been so good in the minors and starting to heat up. Yeah, I mean, watch out for him, because last year, remember how good he was with the Yankees? I mean, this could, if he comes in and plays really well, I mean, if he's batting in the 7th or 8th hole, I mean, that extends this lineup so much.
Yeah. Also in AAA Scranton, Carlos Narvaez, the catcher who was up with the Yankees for a little bit, has a 5-game hitting streak. Scott Effross pitched on Saturday. He's rehabbing from a couple of different injuries, so he's looking to come back in September and help out the depleted Yankee bullpen. Oh, yes. Quick note. Yankees DFA'd Michael Tonkin on Sunday.
A little bit of a shocker.
A little shocking. Yes. I did see a stat from River Avenue Blues where I think they said that in 13 of his last 16 outings, he had given up at least 1 run, which it didn't seem like he did, but
no. And it seemed like the Yankees liked him, but I mean, someone's got to be a sacrifice, and there's going to be so many guys coming up in the near future. Someone had to be the guy.
Yeah. So Effross pitched on Saturday, 1 inning, 2 hits, 1 run, no walks, no Ks. From the people who keep track of this stuff, he maxed out at 90.9 miles per hour with his sinker. He averaged 90.7. He's not much of a power hitter, so they can't really tell how much he's progressing just from his velocity alone, because with some guys you see, like if a power pitcher is down at 93 when they're rehabbing, you're thinking, oh, he's going to need a little time. Yeah. So with Effross, it's a wait and see kind of a thing, but it would be a good boost to the bullpen. We have more people heading back to the bullpen we'll be talking about when we get into Somerset, which is now. Let's talk about Somerset. So Clarke Schmidt, 3 2/3 innings in his first rehab start, 1 run on 1 hit. It was a home run, 1 walk, 6 Ks. He threw 48 pitches, 30 of them were strikes. From the people who watch him and watch everyone else down in the minors, he may only need 1 more rehab start before returning to the Yankees, which would be huge.
I'm so excited to see him back. Yeah. I really am. I can't wait to watch him come back. He's going to be a huge part of this Yankee team. I think he can get playoff starts. I honestly do. It's going to be interesting to see how they work the playoff lineup out, but people forget Clarke Schmidt was really, really good in the middle of the year.
Yeah. 2.52 ERA when he got hurt. Anthony Rizzo DHing in Somerset. His first game back, he was 0 for 1 with 2 walks. On Sunday, in a Somerset win, he was 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. So he's ready.
Mid-season form.
He's in mid-season form. John Birdie and Lou Trivino are also rehabbing with Somerset. Birdie's had a couple of hits. Trivino has looked pretty good in his rehab outings as well. So lots of roster decisions coming up for the Yankees.
I don't know personally where Birdie's going to fit.
Yeah.
I don't see. He hasn't played with the team pretty much all year. They gave him a real good shot at the start of the year. I just don't see at this point where he's going to fit.
Right. Because see, that's hard because Jazz is obviously going to play third. They're sticking with Glaber. Glaber's hitting a little better now. He hasn't torn the cover off the ball, but he's not as lost as the plate as he seemed to be in the beginning of the year. He's getting a little more consistent. Finally, only took until the end of August for that to happen. Birdie is more of a speed person too. So I don't know if he might be like if Stanton gets on base in the 8th inning and they need someone to run the bases kind of thing because he's faster
But
than all of the other guys.
Oswaldo gives them that, and
True.
he plays more positions.
True.
I don't see where he's going to fit. I mean, maybe he will at some point. Maybe they'll find a spot for him, but right now, I don't see many places where he's going to fit.
Yeah, because I think Birdie plays only, I'm saying only, 3rd and 2nd, where Oswaldo, you could basically put him anywhere and he could fit
Literally,
in.
yeah.
Hudson Valley had a 7-game sweep against the Wilmington Red Rocks this week. They had a game that they had to make up from an earlier rainout. It's the first 7-game sweep in their history. They started doing the 6-game series thing in the league in 2021. And on Sunday, Rock Riggio, who was a big draft pick for the Yankees, was that 2 seasons ago, I think, a double short of the cycle in Sunday's win for Hudson Valley. So that's pretty impressive.
Almost there.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't have time to gather all of Tampa's stats, so I apologize to Tampa. We will work on you next week. Florida Coast League is done. The DSL, that league is also done. So it's Scranton, Somerset, Hudson Valley, Tampa for now. We're getting near the end of the season for these guys. So,
yeah,
there's only going to be a few more Minors Mondays. But the big key for this week, the guys who are rehabbing and coming back to the Yankees. Again, Schmidt coming back, Effross coming back, Trivino even coming back. Just big for the pitching staff because some of these guys need time off.
Yeah, exactly. They need rest in their arms, and these guys are going to have de facto tryouts on the major league level to see who's going to make the playoff roster.
Yeah. All right, coming up next, the Yankees are in Washington tonight. We're going to preview that series.
You've heard us talk about it a lot. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Well, we all have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can get, when they bet $5, can get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube or YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every single regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime you like. What is better than that? We're almost there, guys. The best time of year. Football's back. Basketball and hockey are rejoining. Futures, right? Why not bet the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl? It seems to happen every single year. They're at least in the game, right? Season total over-unders, player stat projections. You've got everything available, and it's all available to you on FanDuel.com. So here's what you got to do. You just got to visit FanDuel.com/locked-on and download America's #1 sportsbook. Welcome back to Locked On Yankees. Remember that you can catch every pitch of the Yankees' hometown broadcast on SiriusXM. You just got to download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. Stacey, the Yankees are going to be Monday through Wednesday in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., against a team that's not playing necessarily well all year, but hasn't been as bad as people thought they would be. The Washington Nationals, a series, every single game starting at 6:45. Little interesting there. I have a weird prediction that not a lot of people are going to enjoy from me. I think the Yankees are going to struggle in this series. And mainly, I think they're going to struggle because they're seeing all left-handers. And the Yankees this year are struggling a lot against lefties. Game 1, now the Yankees do have the edge up in pitching matchups. And there's a storyline for Tuesday night that I really want to break down with you. So let's go into game 1 first, though. Nestor Cortes, who's 7-10 with a 4 ERA. He'll go against Mitchell Parker, who's 7-7 with a 4.26 ERA. Weird how Cortez's ERA has gotten down to 4. It's somehow lower than Rodon's, even though it feels like Cortes has been so much worse than Rodon this year. Game 2, and this is the interesting game and the storyline that I want to bring up. Garrett Cole, 5-2 with a 3.72 ERA. He's been dominant of late. He's been so good. He'll go up against Patrick Corbin, who's 3-12 with a 5.73 ERA. Let's hold our horses. Do we remember that guy's name? Patrick Corbin? I'm sure all Yankee fans remember that guy's name, right? I want to bring you guys back, and please admit to me if you were one of those people, because I'm positive that of the couple of thousand people that are going to listen to this episode, there are at least a handful who were very angry and have many tweets and had many disparaging things to say about Brian Cashman when he did not up the offer for Patrick Corbin. Look what happened to Patrick Corbin. The Nationals outbid the Yankees, and look what happened. Now, they won the World Series in the first year of Patrick Corbin. They did win the World Series with him there. They also had Strasburg and Scherzer in the middle of that rotation.
Yeah.
Just got to be real with you guys. I'm just trying to be real with you guys, and I just want you guys to admit it in the comments. Who was a big Cashman missed on this guy? Doesn't want to pony the money up. A classic cheap Steinbrenner. I want to know who you guys are, because listen, there's plenty of guys that I want to pony the money up for, but you need to be, strong and stingent with how you're going to spend your money in professional sports. And this is the guy that every single Yankees fan wanted. We all wanted him. And we were all mad, and we were all calling Steinbrenner cheap when they didn't sign him because they had their set price. This is the player that narrative first became a thing, Stacey, where the Yankees have a price and they refuse to go above that price. This is the guy where that narrative became a thing. And how did that prove out? It proved out pretty damn accurate and pretty damn right.
Those numbers are, woof, my Lord.
And he's been bad for a few years now.
Yeah.
And don't blame the team, because his ERA is in almost 6.
Right. Yeah. It's not one of those situations where he's 3-12, but his ERA is in the 3s because the bullpen comes in and blows it, or, he gives up like 2 runs in 6 innings, but the team doesn't score for him.
This is not Scooble, who's 7-7 with a 2.5 ERA. That's
right.
not what this is. This is a pitcher who signed a massive contract in DC, got insanely overpaid, and became one of the worst starters in all of baseball.
Yeah.
Yankees dodged a major bullet. And it's funny because every offseason when we go into is Hal Steinbrenner cheap? Does Brian Cashman not want to spend money? Every single summer, Stacey, when that conversation becomes a thing, everyone fails to bring up Patrick Corbin. Everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it was so long ago, people almost forget, because that was...
And the Yankees made a hell of a call.
Yeah, the one good call they made.
Yep, for sure. Game 3 will be another 6:45 start. It'll be Carlos Rodon, who's 14-8 with a 4.16 versus Mackenzie Gore. Mackenzie Gore, the center of the Juan Soto trade that got him moved from DC to San Diego. He was one of San Diego's top prospects, moved back to DC. He's 7-11 with a 4.51 ERA. I'm really looking for Carlos Rodon to improve off his start. I mean, he's been so good of late. If those two guys are clicking at the top of the rotation going into the postseason, changes the whole Yankees outlook going into the postseason. It really does. And I don't think you need your third starter, whether it's Schmidt, whether it's Stroman, whoever it's going to be. I mean, Heel, whoever it's going to be, I don't think you need that guy to be elite. I don't. Right. But if you have
it'd be an added bonus, obviously.
Sure. If you have these two guys, Cole and Rodon, pitching the way that they're capable of at the top of the rotation going into the playoffs, terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's all lefties. The Yankees are bad against lefties. It's like we always joke that the ERA between 4 and 5 is their kryptonite, but lefties are also their kryptonite. And you got 2 guys with ERAs between 4 and 5, and
this is a fascinating series because the Nationals are 59-72. They're not good, but they're not awful. They're not at the dregs of the league where they're all at the bottom. Yeah. This is going to be a really fascinating series. I'm intrigued to see how the Yankees take this on because, again, they don't hit lefties. They just simply don't. Yeah. So, and the Nationals are throwing 3 left. Now, the Nationals have 4 out of 5 lefties. Their rotation is 4 out of the 5 starters are left-handed. So I don't want to make it seem like they're throwing out lefties intentionally against the Yankees to try and stop them.
That's it just would have worked out that way, most likely. Yeah,
exactly. But we're gonna see because I'm super intrigued. It's a very, very weird spot they're in though, because they don't. There's some games they don't tend to score runs, and the Nationals are going to give you a few. But let's see what happens. The Nationals can scrap together some runs, and the Yankees can hit these lefties. We're gonna really, really see. Yankees gonna. This is a test for them. And it's weird to say against a team that's not really good, and it's that team that's 12 games under 500.
And they're on the road. Although they're good on the road. It's a
little bit of a test.
So we'll see.
They're better on the road than they are at home.
Yeah, which is really odd, but it's something.
And they have an off day on Thursday.
Yeah. Programming note. Brian is doing Tuesday show solo because I'm taking my birthday
A
night
spa
off.
day.
Not really doing that much. Getting Chinese food for dinner. I'm very excited about that because
should
my
be.
brother's not home. He doesn't like Chinese food, so we can only really have it when he's not home. So
Who doesn't like Chinese food?
my brother.
That's one of the crazier things I've ever heard.
Yeah. And then Wednesday and Thursday show, I will be solo because Brian is going out to Vegas.
Back to
And then-
Vegas, yes.
Yeah. And then we will be back together again for Fan Mail Friday. So just so you guys know, if you tune in for the rest of the week, you'll be like, wow, that's interesting. What's going on? Where's Stacey? Where's Brian? So now you guys know. And
You'll get over it.
yeah,
You'll miss us
it'll
for
be-
a week, but you'll get over it.
Yeah, it'll be fine. We'll have fun. You'll have fun recording your solo show. I'll have fun recording my 2 solo shows. I might decide to do one of them as a live stream. We'll see, because I might be too lazy to edit. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. Yeah, stay tuned for that. So that'll do it for this Monday edition of Locked On Yankees. I am now 50-year-old Stacey Gotsoulias.
And I am 27-year-old Brian McKeon. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.
You brat.